Aloha and welcome to the Friday live marketing coaching call. I am Tom Gaddis. I'm excited to be here. I'm a little scruffy because now that Halloween's over, I'm growing the old beard back. But we have a fantastic show lined up for you today. I'm not going to spend a lot of time beating around the bush. I've got an awesome guest that I'm going to bring out here in a moment, tell you a little more about him. We're going to cover some common pitfalls in reaching out to businesses and how to identify what's not working and improve it. We're going to take your questions. We're going to do some shark shout outs. Like, we are going to have a great show today. So before I dive into all that good stuff, let me talk about our guest a little bit. I'm going to share my screen here. So if you are, let me know in the comments. If you are in our Insiders School group, let me know in the comments. So the Insiders School group, you get in that if you're a Smart Directory AI user or if you're an AI Profit Center or one of those types of programs. If you're in that group, let me know. You may have also seen some posts from this guest in our Facebook group as well. But check this out. He has not been in our community very long. So he actually found us at the HighLevel Summit. He attended my breakout talk on our directory marketing method. That was on like a Wednesday. By the following Monday, he had a Smart Directory AI site set up, and he was sharing some of his progress and stuff in our school group. His name is Russ Ward, an awesome member of the HighLevel community, a real action taker. He's out there doing shit, which I love. And we're going to talk about the stuff he's doing and how he's doing it and all that as well. But I mean, if you're in the group, I would encourage you to search up his name and look at these posts he did. Because you can see, I mean, he just launched his site 18 days ago, roughly around there, right? But he's posting his updates. First claim listing today. He set up a voice AI bot, which is like, it looks amazing. When you watch this, you'll be like, oh my God, I can't wait for that. And then he set up a way for his voice AI widget to search his directory as well. We can talk a little bit about all that stuff. But, you know, I've had a chance to talk to him on a couple of Zoom calls. And, you know, not only is he just like taking massive action, not just with Smart Directory AI, but in his own business and all that stuff, he also has an amazing backstory, and he is one hell of a good guy. So that's why I brought him on the show or the call today. So if you guys could give me a big Sharks welcome for Mr. Russ Ward. What's up, Russ?
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Nice to be here with you, Tom.
Yeah, exciting. I see that gold SaaSpreneur award on the back there.
Yes, sir. That's my first one from last year. Just ordered the next one. I'm sure you have as well.
Nice. Yeah, mine are sitting on the floor over here. I haven't put them up yet, but yeah. You know, funny. Those things are heavy, aren't they?
They are, man. I did an unboxing of it last year because I was all excited, and I couldn't believe how heavy it was. Like, it was.
Yeah, they're gigantic. I like to use them for abs. If you hold them and then do setups, like, it's a pretty good workout. It's a pretty good workout. Yeah, awesome. Cool. Well, hey, before we jump into some of the kind of standard stuff I do, why don't you just give our community just a little bit of your kind of backstory and talk a little bit about like what you're doing in your agency and that kind of stuff. And then a little bit after we do like the shout outs and stuff like that, we'll dive into some more tactical stuff and talk about stuff.
Sure. So, you know, probably a bunch of you know me if you know me from the HighLevel group. I got started in this about 6 years ago when HighLevel was kind of new. I was like one of the OGs of HighLevel. And if you know my backstory, if you want to hear it and just be inspired, I have a podcast called the Lead King Podcast. And basically I talk about how I lost everything in life. And it's crazy what happened. I got out of the Navy and I had an MBA and I had a high security clearance. I could have done anything I wanted in life, worked in corporate America, worked for the government. And what did I pick to do? I went ahead and started bootlegging DVDs. And I did that for about 10 years and I made about $1.5 million, lost every cent of it. And the FBI raided my house. The NFL sued me for $10 million. The IRS came for their money. And I literally had to declare bankruptcy, start over. And I had $5,000 left in my bank account. And I moved to Florida. I was throwing whatever I could against the wall, and I started getting good results for leads for realtors, and I was charging $50 in a video review. So if you ever look me up and you see a ton of reviews, that's because I was taking reviews instead of money for a good portion of my beginning. So from there, I started just doing real estate marketing for a while, and I just kind of started riding trends whenever they would happen. And I went from being freelance guy Russ Ward to the lead king Russ Ward, because that sounded cooler. And that's really how that came about. And just kind of evolved over time, man. And I've had a lot of good mentors along the way, like yourself, Tom, and not just people who teach you, like good people like you. I could tell as soon as I went to your presentation that you're a good person. You're trying to help people. And I've been really fortunate along the way, because I've just had the opportunity to meet good people who were just open to sharing with me and open to helping me and just giving me opportunities along the way. I couldn't have done this by myself, but it was a lot of hard work. And in anything in life that you find success at, I mean, there's a good portion of luck involved too, right place at right time. So that's kind of how I got into this. And I got into AI because I was doing lead generation for mostly real estate agents and solar for a bunch of years. And they just wouldn't call their leads. They would say the leads sucked. They would just drive me nuts. And I tried hiring call centers, everything I could to just get them to not need to call their leads. And then when AI happened, it gave me an opportunity to get away from like agency and doing ads. And I was like, if I could just build a commodity that would follow up with people that are already getting leads, that'd be awesome. So I started doing that. And then we started building these things with AI voice, where we tell them legit, never touch the leads. And when the leads come in, let the AI system take over. And so now we started running ads again, because now we don't have people complaining about the ads because we don't let them touch the ads. And so it's a really nice place right now, because now I'm able to do literally everything that I want for clients, and they can't complain about anything because all they get is results. They either get a phone call with someone who's interested, or they get an appointment with someone who's interested. And that's all they really want anyway. And that's kind of what we do.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that when you told me that backstory on the first time we talked on Zoom, I was like, man, what an inspiring story. What an awesome, I love bounce back stories. I mean, that's kind of like my backstory. My back was against the wall. I didn't know what I was going to do, and had to pull, do anything I could to get traction and going. And so I love hearing other stories like that as well. There are a couple of things you said in there that I think are important to kind of point out to our community, because I know we have we have people in here too that, they're helping small business, all our communities helping small businesses. And, like you said, small businesses, they want leads, they want customers, they want things like that. And I think a lot of times we don't talk a lot about the kind of the downside of like generating leads for clients and things like that. And you mentioned a few of them, like, if they suck at closing those leads, they do not realize they suck at it. And then they just blame you, right? They're like, oh, your leads are terrible, even though it's their process, it's their follow-up systems, or things like that. So a lot of times when you're trying to do leads for a business, like you get sucked into doing, you have to like make sure all that other stuff is in place as well, or you don't, and you just have to kind of deal with that. Is that kind of like an accurate thing?
Yeah, it's absolutely accurate. And I used to get so frustrated in the beginning, because I really believe deep down, and I still believe to this day, that I cared more about their businesses than they did. Like when realtors wouldn't call their leads, I would call their leads, because I took it personal. Man, I generated these leads, and you tell you they suck. And I would literally call through 10, 15, 20 leads in a day, and I would set appointments for them just because they weren't doing it. So yeah, those are the downsides are, is human nature is to do the easiest thing, which is be lazy. And then there's a few people out of 100 who are like, no, I'm not going to be that way. And I just happen to be one of those people who just takes action all the time, because I just prefer it. Most people don't prefer it, right? Yeah. Especially realtors. That's why I don't work with realtors anymore. But you're right, though.
It's uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
I don't know that they don't prefer it. It's uncomfortable, and it's like,
right.
Yeah.
So when people won't do the thing they need to do, and you can't force them to do it, then there's really not much you can do about that other than do it for them. And then what's the point of doing it? You might as well just do it. I might as well just be a realtor if I'm going to do it for them, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's always been my thing. I'm like, especially like when I see people that do this offer, like, oh, we'll do everything in your agency, we'll generate the client. I'm like, if they could do that, why would they want you to pay them? Why aren't they just out there doing that themselves then? Right. If they have that ability. But there's a couple of things here too, I think, that are really good in what you said about just kind of like AI and some of the, I don't know, the misconceptions about it. And I think some fears that some marketing people have around it too, because like, I always go back to this thing I heard at the Level Up thing when Neil Patel said there's a difference between using AI and leveraging AI to generate revenue. Those are two different things. And the majority of people, business owners included, are simply using AI. It's kind of like a glorified calculator. Like they have no idea how to take this thing they're using and use it in an effective way to generate revenue for their business, right? And I see that gap, right, very clearly. Like, oh yeah, like, and a lot of times, even if a business owner is using AI, just like with calling their own leads, like they just don't do it. They're not going to spend the time to do it. So there's this, that's where we come in, right? Like, I don't think that is going to go away. The business owner, or the majority of business owners, are not going to want to spend any of that time to do that themselves. They would much rather just pay someone to do it for them and not have to worry about it.
Right.
So that's number one. And then the second thing that you kind of mentioned this before the call, I want to bring this up because you talked about the process you have right now is like basically to use AI to get the lead on the call with a real person as quickly as possible. And that you've kind of found that combination works the best. And I think this is another myth about AI, that it's going to take away all human interaction, or just because we're using AI, there's not going to be any human interaction. But I think that's a big myth. I think there's a combination of the two that is going to be the most effective. And is that what you've been seeing and what you've been doing?
It is. And what I noticed is when you let the lead know, because not everybody knows it's AI, just because we do it all day. But if you let the lead know that you're going to talk to a human at some point in this process, they seem to loosen up a bit, right? So the example I was sharing with you is we have a process where, let's say a new lead comes in, a text message will go out, and then when someone replies to that text message, the AI takes over, and it's already has a prompt that tells it, you're going to ask these questions to qualify them. And then when it's the appropriate time, if the person's qualified, it'll say, hey, we have someone standing by right now that can talk to you. Would you like me to call you and transfer you over to them? And if they say yes, we have an AI voice bot that literally calls them. It'll say, hey, this is Paige from the Lead King. Would you like me to transfer you over to Russ now? And are you still okay? Are you still free to be transferred now? And if they say yes, it just literally rings right through to my phone. So don't everybody do that at once. I actually have like 1 hour a day where I take calls like that. If you happen to hit it at the right time, I will answer. But I do that on purpose because I want to test it. But the majority of the time, like we do this with car dealerships. It crushes with car dealerships because as the leads are coming in, man, they want to talk about a car. They want to talk about their credit app. So if they offer a phone call with a human, they almost always say yes to that. And then it's almost always successful transfer. So the other thing that I want to point out too is a lot of people think that they can just upload a list of leads and then just sick the AI on it and make them start calling. You can do that, but the answer rate is so low because most people don't answer calls they don't know. So what we do to make sure they answer the call is, number one, we ask permission to call them. And number two, right before we actually trigger the outbound call from the AI, we say, just to let you know, I'm going to be calling you from this number, answer the call so I can transfer you over. So we get permission, and then we send them the number it's calling from, and that gets our call connect rate almost to 100%.
And how are you getting permission?
Because we ask them if it's okay to call them.
Oh, but like at what? So are they? So do they call in initially? Is that how that works?
No. So in this example, they came in as a lead through maybe Facebook ads, right? And then
okay. So you're running an ad. They fill out a form.
Right.
Now you say, hey, like when they fill out that form, that gives you permission to call them, and then you can.
Right, but before we do it, we have a small text message conversation with them. The bot's actually talking to them through text, and then we say, hey, we have someone standing by that can talk to you, a human. Can you want to talk to him right now? And if they say yes, that's what triggers the outbound webhook that goes out and makes the phone call.
Gotcha. So leading with SMS interaction, and then the outbound AI calls once you have that permission.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, we can talk a little bit more about that too. I wanted to show you guys something too that Russ is doing because I thought this stuff was really great as well. And that is, hold on, let me pull my screen back up here. So this is one of the things, I think Russ might have shared this in the main Facebook group as well too. But Russ was able to set up, so this is a new feature that HighLevel just rolled out where your chat widget, you instead of having to type on the website, you can actually interact with with voice. And so Russ had this little video of where he set up this chat widget, and the person can just talk to it, and it can walk them through like answering questions about the business and stuff like that. Now, I will, in full transparency, I know Russ he's got a lot of experience in setting these things up, and I think you set this up yourself, right?
Yeah, I did. As soon as I saw HighLevel came out with these, I started playing with it immediately. So because I was excited.
Yeah. We actually have some workflows and stuff built around this. Russ is actually in the beta group that's testing it right now because we have learned from hard experience. We got to make sure everything works correctly. So he's been in the behind the scenes, like trying to break this thing and making sure everything works right. And we're trying to iron out some of the kinks right now on the development side. But pretty soon we will be rolling out to all Smart Directory AI users. It's not an additional fee or anything. It just comes with the software. We've got a couple of inbound and outbound AI workflows where you can set things like this up on your site. And when the person lands on the site, they'll actually just be able to talk to the AI and claim and add their business and claim their listing and do various things like that. And then we have some outbound voice AI stuff that is triggered when a person claims their listing, which gives us permission to call them and things like that. So we can talk about this a little bit too, if you guys are interested. Before we really kind of like dive into all this though, I do want to just get a couple of kind of our normal Friday call things out of the way. If you don't mind, Russ, we're going to go through some shout out some wins.
Sure.
And then we'll talk a little bit more about all this stuff, and we'll even take questions from people out there. So if you're watching this on the stream right now, do me a favor, like it. If you have not subscribed, subscribe. I've been posting videos pretty much every day on the YouTube channel. So I think I'm probably biased, Russ, but I think there's some pretty good ones. So like, make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you get notified about all those. And then we're going to go through these real quick. So first up, I just want to give a big shout out to all of our accountability check-in people. So one of the things that we do in the insiders group is every Monday, someone from our team makes a post in that group that's like the weekly accountability post. And then we ask members to go there and just in the comments, hold themselves accountable, put what they're working on this week, what they got done last week, what they're working on this week, all that stuff. And we do that week after week. And I see a lot of the same names on this list in that group week after week. There's also some people who are, I'm not sure if they're in the school group or not, but they just do it in the Facebook group. Like Citra, I see them posting every week in the Facebook group. This is what I'm doing this week. This is what I got done, didn't get done. And it's really great to see those posts, especially when I see people being honest. When there are things like, look, I didn't get anything done last week, but here's what I'm going to do this week. I'm back on the track, right? The whole point of those posts is not whether you do the thing or not do the thing. It's getting in the consistency of holding yourself accountable. Because if you're posting more than 2 or 3 weeks in a row, I didn't get anything done, you're either going to do one of two things. You're either going to start to get some stuff done, or you're going to stop posting. So like, if you stay consistent doing that though, you will like fire yourself up to actually get something done. So a big shout out to Dorn, to Chris, to Margie, Christopher, Dave, Oliver, Linda, Rosina, Paul, Brett, and Citra. Awesome to see this stuff. And, you know, it's no surprise that the names you see on this list every week are typically the names that you see in our Shark Shoutouts when people are sharing wins and stuff like that. So big shout out to everybody on that list. Also a big shout out to Michael and Lars, who launched new Smart Directory AI sites this week. So this is interesting. So Michael, congratulations. Awesome work, man. Lars just transferred his old agency Growth Machine site to the new system. And I don't know if you guys remember this, and maybe some of you are new and you didn't see this on the shoutouts, but a while back, Lars sold a directory site to his local chamber of commerce, and they paid him up front. He was going to just do it monthly. He's like, look, I'll set it up, manage it. You just pay me X amount of dollars a month. But he told him, he's like, look, if you want to prepay for the whole year, I'll give you 2 months for free. And so they took that offer, and he got like just a little over $11,000 to set up a Smart Directory AI site for that group. And so now that site is set up and it's live and they're using it. And for those of you that are familiar with Smart Directory AI, we have an unlimited plan that allows you to set up as many directories as you want. That plan is $299 a month. And so Lars has covered his cost there for quite a while. And I'm sure he's going to continue to do that. So congratulations to Lars on that. All right, here's the fun stuff. The shout outs for this past week. So every week we ask people in our community to just go in and share their wins, the service they sold, how much they made, all that kind of stuff. And we do that for the rest of you because a lot of people, I don't know how it was for you guys, but when I was getting started, like I felt like, man, am I the only person that sees this opportunity? Like it feels that way when you're around, as Harry Potter would call them, Russ, the muggles, right? When you're out in the world of the muggles and the non-entrepreneurs, it can feel very, very lonely. And you start to think, am I the crazy one? Am I nuts for thinking this could work? Like, is it real? This seems too good to be true. I'm a little skeptical. So we just ask people in our community when they use one of our strategies and get a win to share it in the group. And so I'm going to go through the ones. These are just the ones from the past week, the past 7 days. So if you're new to our community or you just come in, maybe you've caught a couple of our YouTube videos and you're just kind of checking things out, I would encourage you to go in the group and just search the group for #win and just look at all the people from different parts of the US and the world that are in there sharing their wins. It will also give you a very real education on what services are getting traction right now, how much people are charging actually, because there's a difference between saying I charge $1,000 for a service and actually getting paid $1,000, right? So you will see people, the services they're actually selling, the prices they're actually getting, and you'll just get to see that all these people are different. They all have different situations and all that stuff. So I think it's a real world education because we see this question all the time. How much should I charge for this? How much should I charge for that? Like, don't guess. Go look and see what people are actually getting. What service should I do? What should I sell? Well, go look and see what other people are getting traction with and maybe start there, right? So this is a good way to do that. Search #win. So first up, my buddy Scott Meisner. So Scott, I actually got to meet a long time ago. He came to Maui. We had lunch. Scott does a postcard mailer, and he just crushes it with this thing. And a couple of years ago, he started selling additional marketing services on the back end. Scott was a high school teacher. He's quit that job. He has a ginormous family. I think he has like 15 kids. I don't know. He's got a lot of kids. And so anyway, he just wrapped up his final quarterly mailer of 100K. These are gigantic 11 by 14 postcards. He says 2025 was not as good as 2024. That's kind of been our experience too, right? There's been a difference with his postcard sales, but he added 10 plus monthly recurring marketing clients, over 10 monthly recurring marketing clients. That makes up much more than the difference. And that is kind of, I think, a great example of combining different things to get your overall revenue up, right? So Scott uses the postcards to generate the business, to build the relationship, and then he sells them additional services. That's where, the bigger money is. And even though the postcard sales aren't as good this year, he's made up for it by getting over 10 clients for other things that is generating more revenue than the postcard sales, right? So we do that exact same thing with the directory. We use the directory as a foot in the door, and then we sell them services on the back end. And you can do that with lots of other stuff as well. It's kind of one of our core strategies here. But great win, Scott. It was awesome to see that picture of you with all the postcards. And I love it. He puts his kids to work. It's a little family business. Really, really awesome. Next up, we have Lonnie Hall. Got his first two Smart Directory AI clients, one free, one upgraded to the $250 annual premium package. I loved seeing this. I saw Lonnie get his site set up and starting to get some traction. So this is awesome stuff, Lonnie. Way to go. Next up, Mr. Greg Blackwood upsold a current client. They were already spending $1,000 a month. He upsold them to a $500 website. I think this, again, something that gets overlooked. If you have existing clients, go back and see if there's other things you can do for them to help them, right? And I've been saying this, I feel like, a lot lately, but all of our high-paying clients in our agency, we grew. Like, most of them came in as $1,000 clients, and we've grown them to those higher-paying clients over time by just doing more stuff for them. Dr. Ebony Ashley Wright landed her first client for $2,800, full setup, including a web page, reputation campaign, and chatbot system. That is a solid win right there, Russ.
Yep.
I wish my first client was $2,800. I was lucky to get $300. Well, solid win, Ebony, solid win. Next up, our power couple, Randy and Jocelyn Bett. They funded a retail store, support for web dev partner, website design, plus Go HighLevel sub account, $7,500. Jackpot theme website. What Randy's referencing there is we have a home services theme that we sell as a pre-built website. So he sold a home service pre-built website for $2,997. I love that because, like, I teach that strategy, Russ, on the YouTube channel, and I tell people to ask $500. And here's Randy out there getting $3,000 for a pre-built website. Pretty crazy. E-commerce website plus commission, 40%, $997 plus 40% sales commission. Directory setup plus secured 5 donors. So they're setting up a directory for a client, and they secured 5 donors, $1,000 each. Google Business Profile Optimization plus Go HighLevel subscription, $750 setup, $150 a month recurring. That is awesome. Russ, do you know the story of Randy and Jocelyn?
I don't, but I mean, God, it looks like they're killing it.
Yeah, so Randy and Jocelyn actually joined our Facebook group separately. Randy was in Canada. Jocelyn, I think, was in Oregon. And anyway, they both came to Vegas. I met both of them. They started chatting in the Facebook group. They became business partners. And then Randy asked her to marry him.
How long of a period of time was this, like, between meeting and marriage?
That's a good question. I mean, they were both in our group for a long time. They just got married last year. And here's what's even crazier. They messaged me because they're like, hey, we're getting married and we're doing it in Vegas. And they're like, we're getting married at the Little Chapel of the Flowers.
No way I got married there.
You did?
I was married twice. My first marriage was at the Little Chapel of Flowers in 1998.
That's where my wife and I got married.
Oh my gosh, what a small world.
In 2006, we got married at that chapel. We drove from Oklahoma and got married. So I told Randy, I was like, well, that's where I got married. I'm like, I'll come to the wedding. And like 2 weeks before the wedding, he messaged me and he's like, hey, my son is sick and he can't travel. Would you be the best man at the wedding?
Oh my gosh.
And so like I went and rented a tux and like I got all these pictures as the best man. It was awesome. So
that is so cool.
What a great story, right?
What a small world. All 3 of us at that same chapel.
That's nuts. That's nuts. My wife will be excited to hear that. She loves that kind of stuff. All right. And that's a grand total for the week of November 1st through November 7th of $20,944 that you, the people in our community, generated. That's a grand total since the start of 2025 of $946,281.23. We are so close to crossing $1 million in business that you all have closed. If you have a win and you have not shared it in our group, please take some time today to go in, share the win. Let us know the service you sold, how much you got for it. That way we can call you out here. Now, I know a lot of times people post wins and they're recurring and they only post them one time. So if you've had some recurring wins that you haven't posted in a while, post those as well. Kristen is a really good example of that. She has a monthly bar client that she charges like $3,000 for social media management. And she's always posting every month about that. So we'd love to get those too. We want to get that total up over $1 million as much as possible. So just a big shout out to everybody that shared their wins and all that stuff as well. Congratulations, everybody. All right. Now that we got that out of the way, let's go through a couple of questions. So Russ, why don't you, because we had like a little little like direct message conversation back and forth too, because you set up the directory. Well, can you kind of tell people like sort of what's happened on the journey of what you've done with the directory?
Yeah, so I saw your presentation at the Level Up Summit, and it just made a lot of sense to me because I was looking for new ways to work with local businesses, and in your way just sounded like, oh, that's really cool. So you were kind enough to talk to me for a few minutes, and then I got home and I got your deal. You gave me a little trial, which was very cool, and I literally just sat there while football was on during a Sunday and just set the whole thing up. And by the way, your directions are excellent. I just followed the directions, and I would have never even thought to edit the emails, and I saw you did it, so I did it too. So anyway, I know in the past I hadn't been very good at following directions and watching videos. So my advice to the group is if you haven't done that, follow the directions and watch the videos because it helps. So I did that. And then I went out and I got some data. I had some data from other things I was doing, and I just parsed it all up real nice, and I queued it up to send out like, I don't know, 500 emails the first week. And now I think I'm up to almost 2,000 emails sent, which is pretty cool. So every day I would just send a couple hundred more emails. And like I shared with the group, like it was growing really fast. People were responding. They were saying yes. They were updating me with addresses, a couple claims. And then, what happened was it slowed down a bit, and I didn't understand why it was slowing down a bit, but then I finally figured it out. I actually switched data sources. I'm in this other school group where these guys are like, here's all the data for all the best cities in the whole country. So I started just grabbing their free data. They had thousands of records, and I noticed their data wasn't converting like the original data that I had. And so I think even though the emails that were like confirmed emails that would deliver, I don't know how accurate the emails actually were because I wasn't getting as much of a response from those ones. They were all getting delivered, but not a response. So I'm gonna start looking at the data sources anyway. But along the way, I started making enhancements, right? Like I shared in the group, I put the widget on there, and so then once a little while later, I found a way that HighLevel has a new improvement where you can add things to your bot for training. So you can add like scrape a website, you can add a spreadsheet, whatever. So for whatever reason, the HighLevel website scraper doesn't seem to scrape a whole directory. Maybe it's just too big. So what I did was I just downloaded all the contacts, put them into a CSV file, and then uploaded them as training for the bot. And then the widget was able to reference all of them in there, which was pretty cool. Now that's not optimal. Hopefully in the future, they'll let us do like a Google Sheet or something, and that would be better. So I got that. And then I did notice that a few people actually went to the site, talked to the chat widget and asked, is this legit? Is this real? And the widget did a really good job. It was like, of course it's real. And it told him a little bit about me and and it gave him a link to my agency website. So, it's making progress. But one of the things I wanted to use this most for, and probably some other people do too, is I just haven't got out and networked in my community enough. As an agency owner, you stay in your office a lot of the time, right? And we have a pretty vibrant networking scene here in Tampa. So I want to be able to go out and rather than explain how an AI bot works, which I can't really explain in 30 seconds, is I can say, hey, I own a local directory site and I'd love to add your business to it. And then boom, that gives me a way to talk to every single person in the room because everybody needs that. Not everybody needs or understands an AI widget,
Yeah, well, and that's that's why we've used this strategy for a long time as the foot in the door, and it is so great for any service you sell. There's a couple things you said there that I think are really important to kind of pull out because I do think, and we were talking a little bit about this before the call. It's natural, like if you're trying to get a directory site off the ground, and you're sending out emails and maybe they're getting delivered, they're getting open, but you're not getting claims, or maybe they're not getting opens. Like there's a lot of moving parts to that cocktail that a lot of people, like when I say them, you'll be like, oh yeah, I remember you vaguely talking about that in a video, but it's like, you don't really make that connection until you're actually doing it and making adjustments and optimizing what you're doing. So like when you're doing any kind of cold outreach, right? And Russ knows this better than anybody. There's the list, there's the message, there's the offer, right? And then the call, like your call to action. So your list is probably 80% of your results. Like the quality of that list is huge on what type of results that you get. And I have a great example of this. And we kind of talked a little bit about this before the call, Russ, but like I did a live training a couple of weeks ago, And I built a list of just 9 businesses. So how did I build that list? Well, when I was out about, I had errands to run the day before. So when I was out in my daily life, I just like paid attention and I just made a note of 9 businesses. Like there was a cleaning company, there was, I don't know, some other home service thing. I was like, so I just like, oh, well, I see this. I saw a truck. I saw that. I was like, oh, so I made a note of those 9 businesses. And on my live training, I added those 9 businesses to the free listing outreach. And when I woke up the next day, one of them had responded. Now, the reason, and I wasn't I was using the crappy shared HighLevel domain. I had not edited any of the templates. My site wasn't customized, but I got a response. The reason I got that response was because that list of 9 businesses was super high quality. Like they were in my area. They were small businesses. They were businesses that could really turn into paying clients. Like they weren't chains. They weren't like, they looked to me when I saw them out and about like, oh, that'd be a good person for a directory and for to pick up as a client. So that's a great example of the list part of the equation. The better that list, the better your initial results are going to be. Now, for those of you watching, what does that mean for you? Well, that means stop trying to build the biggest list possible. Like just because you can use AI to scrape 10,000 leads does not mean those leads are good, right? Like we want to really be focusing on real small businesses preferably in our own backyard or the area that we're targeting that have real problems we can solve. That is a quality lead, right? So I would much rather have a list of 25 businesses that are all in the area that I'm trying to get clients in, that I know are real small businesses, that I know all don't have a chatbot. Like that's a high quality. Those 25 businesses, I could just spend a week or 2 weeks emailing, following up, doing whatever I want with those 25 and probably get more clients than someone who just runs a list of 100 businesses through one email sequence, right? So list, super important. So we have a training in the members area about how to clean your list and things like that. That's the start, but don't shy away from really like the time that you invest in building a quality list is what we call a revenue producing activity. So like if you're just even doing it the old fashioned way of looking around and add them to a spreadsheet, like that's time well spent. You may be surprised and find you get way better results than trying to scrape them with AI and all that stuff. So I love that you're testing out the different data sources and that you check that and you look at that and you're like, oh, because maybe that's the first thing, right? Do we have a good list? Second, the messages, are they getting opened? Are they getting read?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the next thing. And then the offer. So are people actually claiming their listing? Are they upgrading to premium? That kind of stuff. So you can kind of look at what's happening in those various things and figure out what it is that you need to work on. And I think the fact that your chatbot, Russ, was getting questions like, is this legit? Is this real? Really highlights another thing that you have to overcome, which is people are just naturally skeptical. Like you're emailing them about this directory. It's free. They've got nothing to use. They're just naturally skeptical. So you may want to start thinking about, well, how can I overcome that? Like maybe I can put a link to my bio or a link to my LinkedIn profile, or maybe I can what are some things I could add to my emails that might imbue them with a little more trust? Maybe I know, people sometimes put their picture, like a headshot in the email, but what if you had a picture of you in front of a famous landmark in your area, right? Like that could be very trust building because you're building this local directory and here's this picture of you in front of this thing that anyone in the area would know. Like that indirectly builds some trust that you're in the area.
Right.
You'll hear all those kinds of things. So, so those are some things that if you're out there and two, don't get discouraged, right? I was kind of telling Russ this as well. The first step is just getting attention, right? Like if you're getting attention, you're winning, because if you're getting your emails delivered and opened, even if you're not getting any claimed listings, any premium upgrades, any responses, like you have cracked the hardest part, which is just getting the freaking email open. We can figure all that other stuff out by testing different messages and, you know, customizing things and trying different stuff. And what if I add this trust element? And what if I say this? And what if I say that? Like you can figure out and change what you're doing and get that part working. But getting the attention is like a really tough thing. So, and I've never been involved in a business where that wasn't the case. Like it has always worked out that way. Like the first thing, we just want to get some kind of traction. That's why with Smart Directory AI, and like Russ did this exactly the way you're supposed to do it. He set up the bare minimum site, the bare minimum customization, and then started prospecting right away. The whole point of that is we just want to make sure that we can get traction before we start investing all this time and building out this intricate directory and imbuing it with all these different features. And like, we don't want to spend all that time only to find out that we can't get the kind of traction we need to make that work. So we want to be able to set it up quickly, get to prospecting. And then as we get traction and we develop that out, then we build everything out. Right. So yeah, that's awesome stuff. So did you make any changes to the emails too yet?
So I haven't made any changes to the emails. What I did do, I think some of the people in the group saw this, is I set it up so if they went through the whole email sequence, my bot would actually call them. I had it set up to call them up.
Yeah.
And so we haven't got a lot of traction with that, but I think the reason was because the first like 50 calls were to med spas, and I noticed a lot of med spas have like a receptionist and you can't get to the owner. And so the bot was actually kind of arguing with the receptionist, which it shouldn't have been doing. It was like, well, let me talk to her. And it was like, no. And it's so
that's great.
But I did actually get a roofer on the phone with the bot, and it did actually. So then the bot said to the roofer, said, hey, it looks like you haven't claimed your listing yet. Would you like to? And the guy was like, okay. She goes, what number should I text it to? And she texted a link to his business over the phone call, and he claimed the listing right over the phone call from a bot. So that was really cool.
That's great.
And so what I was doing was I had custom fields set up, like where the where we'd have a link to the business. That custom field was sent over to Vappy, which is the calling software I use, and it was just sitting there as part of the data available to the bot, and then it was able to text that over to the person while they're talking on the phone. So that was really cool. I was really excited when it did that.
That is freaking awesome.
Because that just goes to show, like, you know, if you could scale this enough, you could fully automate this whole thing and let bots do everything. Now, we were talking about we shouldn't do that. Like, there's going to be so many people that don't ever respond that you can just pick up the phone and say, hey, you never claimed your listing. Let's have a phone call, right? But having a bot that does stuff like that is just, I was just so excited as an AI tech geek like I am, you know?
Yeah, well, you know, me too. And that's why we've been building out that bot stuff in the back. And, you know, like, I'm excited about that stuff because I do think that is a hurdle. And like, you know, in the past, what we did was like, we hired people to just make those calls, right? Like, we hired somebody to just be on the phone every day, calling people that we added to the directory and letting them know they've been added and that we saw they haven't claimed their listing, and can we walk them through that process? So I know that really works, but you know, you don't always want to have a person and hire them and all that. So we really want to be able to get bots to do that part and do it in an effective way so that, you know, we can automate that part of the process. Now, I think just like you found with lead gen, I think what that process ultimately looks like is, hey, I saw you hadn't, you know, I saw you claimed the listing or you hadn't claimed the listing, whatever it is. Let me walk you through that. And then, by the way, you know, we could help you get some more, like connecting them with the person at some point. Like, I think that's still going to be an important part of what's going on there. We'll take your questions here in just a second. So if you put them in, I do want to point out one thing to you guys, because I was playing around with this before the call today, because I knew Russ and I were going to be talking, and he had mentioned about some of the things with the emails, and like, it doesn't seem to be getting as good of a response. And so I wanted to just show you guys this real quick, something that you can do if you think like, oh, is there something I could be doing better with my emails and things like that. So I'm going to show you guys this real fast, and then we'll answer some questions with Russ, and then we'll do our Cash App giveaway. So what I did was I just went into Smart Directory AI and I just copy and pasted all of the generic templates that are in there right now. In the members area, I have a training on how to customize these and all that stuff, which you should definitely watch. But I want, and even if you've customized your emails and they're not getting the response you want, you could do this process I'm going to show you as well to maybe improve them. So, because I know I had one person send me their emails that they had the AI right. And one of the things I noticed right off the bat was like they were spending too much time in the beginning of the email talking about themselves. Like the business owner doesn't care about you. They only care about them and what's in it for them. So do not spend, like, if you have emails right now in your sequences where like the whole first 2 paragraphs are all about you and your directory, like, stop it. Like, it really needs to be about them. Like, it needs to be really quick. Like, hey, I built this directory. You have a free listing. Here's why this is valuable to you. And this is what I need you to do next. Like, that type of stuff should really be in the emails. But what I want to show you guys is this. So I'm just going to copy all of these. So, well, let's just do the first one. I mean, you can do all of them or you could do the first one, right? So I'm just going to copy these. And what I would do is I'd go over to like Claude. You could use ChatGPT. And I would just say, hey, read the emails below and let me know that you understand them. So first, before I do anything, so before I just go posting my emails in and be like, edit this, make it better, rewrite it, like, I want to make sure that the AI understands what I've got going on here. So I just put in that little chat, that little message, read the emails below and let me know that you understand them. And then I just click send. And now I'm using Claude in this example, but you could really use any AI tool for this. Okay, so it says, look, I understand these emails. This is a 5-email sequence designed to get local businesses to claim and verify their listings on a community directory website. Here's the flow: email 1, warm up, email 2, email 3. So this is like basically the outline of what these emails are, right? So now I could tell it something like, I could say, give me a list of all the benefits a business gets by claiming their listing. So really what I'm trying to do here is just get the AI warmed up and in the mode of what I'm talking about and making sure it understands everything, right? So now it's just going to build me a list, right? So verify accuracy, edit business information. These are all the things that are a benefit to doing that, right? So now I could tell it, like, hey, hold on, let me get this over here because that's getting in the way. I could say, okay, rewrite email number 1, the warm-up email, to get using the above benefits to entice them to claim, to respond that their business information is correct. I don't want any links in the email. Oh, I don't. Well, we'll see what it does. I usually want to put in there, I don't want any links in that first email, because that will kind of help you with deliverability. And one of the things that really like helps your domain and your sender stuff is getting people to actually reply. So the first email of our sequence, we deliberately don't put any links in it so that the person has to reply to let us to know. So it will, and I'm not going to go through the rest of this, but once it spits out this kind of like rough email and it kind of looks good to me, then I will have it generate like 5 subject lines. So I'll say something like, give me 5 hardcore direct marketing subject lines using every direct marketing trick that would get somebody to open this email. So I'm not really worried about the email itself yet, like the tone, the style, anything like that. I'll go back and do that later. I just want to get all the pieces in place, right? So this looks good, no links, all that. So then I would say, give me 5 hardcore direct marketing. Oops, I'm a terrible typer. Marketing subject lines to get this email opened. Use all the direct marketing tricks you know. All the direct marketing tricks you know. And then now I've got an email, right? And then I'll get 5 subject lines here. Okay, so here's 5 different ones. So I may look at one of these and go, is this you? Needs confirmation. Like, I like this number 1. So then I might just tell it, like, rewrite the email based on subject line number 1, right? Rewrite the email based on subject line number 1. Give it a casual, I might set the tone here, right? Really push them to reply to claim their listing, right? So that's the basic idea. So once I have the subject line, then I'll tell it, like, look, just go in, make the email match the tone of this subject line, write it all, right? And then it will just rewrite it, all that, so everything matches. And so you can just go through and do that with every one in the sequence. And then I might go back and say, hey, my directory is in Russ's directory is in Tampa Bay. So I might go back and say, hey, my directory is in Tampa Bay, add some local personalization. So it's my directory is in Tampa, Florida, add some local personalization. And then now you can see I'm just slowly like crafting it into what I want, right? Instead of just going with the first thing that it gives me. Plus, I can go back and tell it, like, redo this, make it that. Like, I don't have to accept everything that it pops out real right? So see, we're publishing a business directory for Tampa. It is being listed right now. Before you go live, I need you to verify this is your correct information. Like, this looks pretty good, right? So that's how I would go in and maybe use something like Claude or ChatGPT to analyze what I'm doing and make it a little better. So, all right, let's take some questions. And I saw some up in here too, Russ. So let me scroll up here. Sidera says, after my emails are sent out, how long do I wait before reaching out to them if they haven't claimed their listing? Russ, what are your thoughts on that?
I let it go through the whole 4 email sequence because, I personally, my opinion is I want it to just naturally flow through and then let the bot try to call them. And then if all the automations don't get a claim or whatever we want them to do, then that's when I would reach out.
That's a good one. Charles says, I thought you couldn't place a bot on the directory yet. So Charles, you can. We have if you go into your, here, let me show you this. Let me go over into my demo Smart Directory AI site, and I'll show you this. So if you go into your Smart Directory AI dashboard, and I believe it's in settings, and you go to settings, there is a link in the menu called custom code, and you can add it here. That's where you added yours, right, Russ?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Put you on the spot there. Sorry. But yeah, you can add, this is for like, you can add tracking codes, different things like that, but you can also add your bot here. So we've also kind of streamlined this menu setting just so you guys know. We've got more integration. So here's where you can put like your Maps key, your Google Analytics, your Stripe integrations. And this is new. So this is part of the rollout of the AI agents bot. So one of the things that I'll tell you guys, so it was not a simple matter of just, if you just connect a HighLevel AI bot to your directory site, it can't do things like claim the listing, add them, like create an account for them, add their business, because all of that stuff lives in Smart Directory. It doesn't live in HighLevel. And so to do those things, HighLevel has to interact with Smart Directory AI. So we had to build out custom webhooks and custom under the hood stuff so that HighLevel and the directory site, the agents can talk to each other and it can get the information that it needs from the directory site. So that's why the process is taking a little bit of time. And a lot of people thought like should be simple. Yeah, I wish it were that simple. A lot of times the things that look simple are complicated, and this is one of those. So that's what we've been building out, building that functionality into the directory so that it can interact with the AI agents inside HighLevel and get all the information they need. That's what Russ and some other people are testing right now and making sure all that works before we roll it out. But this is a part of that little AI conversation key. So, okay, let me scroll down here to the bottom. Kelly says, Kelly, are you talking about your listings? Like you're adding the business tag and they're not being added to the directory? If that's happening, do me a favor, Kelly, submit a ticket so the team can go in and investigate and take a look. So, Rose, as soon as that functionality is available to all users, there will be training in the members area on how to do it. So what Russ did is a little different from what we're doing. So Russ just added a chatbot, and because he knows how to build all that stuff out on the back end, he's kind of making it work on his end, but we actually have some integrations with it and stuff like that that'll make it a lot easier once they go live. So once it's in, there'll be training in the members area for that. Russ, Patty wants to know what's the calling service that you use?
I use, some people call it VAPI, some people call it VAPI. I call it VAPI. It's VAPI.ai. And the reason I use it, I only use it for one reason. Everything else in HighLevel is good. But for outbound calling, HighLevel has a lot of restrictions. And the voice for VAPI is phenomenal. Like a lot of times you can't even tell it's not a human. So as soon as HighLevel takes the restrictions off, and what I mean by that, you can only like make like one call a day. You can only call them like 3 times over 10 days. It has to read them a message that says, this is an AI call. You can hang up at any time. Like that's totally like paying money to have somebody hang up on you. So I don't find it to be useful with the HighLevel voice AI. That's why I'm using VAPI.
Gotcha. Yeah, I know one that we were looking at testing was Synflow. Synflow was another one that we were looking at with voice AI. I don't know if you've ever seen them. They've got.
I have. The cost was pretty high. So another thing I liked about VAPI was it's free to use and you just pay per minute. You don't have to pay like a monthly fee on VAPI, which is really cool. I like that about it.
That's great.
And it integrates with HighLevel too. So it has a direct integration with HighLevel. So it can pull up your contacts and it can pull up your calendars and it can set appointments right through the phone call, which is really nice.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, that's a good tip. Well, there you go, Patty. There you go. All right. Look, we're coming up to the top of the hour. Russ, this has been awesome. Like you shared so much great stuff. I love it. We're going to have to definitely have you on again. We can dive in a little deeper. Hey, if you guys, I mean, if you guys are interested, like if you put some comments in the chat and if there's enough of them and maybe I can rope Russ into doing it, maybe we can have him do a little training on voice AI and what he's doing there and stuff like that. You guys would be down to see something like that, let me know. Also, if you have any last minute questions, pop those in. We're going to do our giveaway. Let me answer a couple of these real quick, and then we'll do our $25 Cash App giveaway. I already talked about that. Good. Minute ticket. Yep, I agree, Dorn. Let me look in here. Oh, I have it. Look, I am like going crazy on here. And yeah, if you haven't checked out Smart Directory AI, we do have a Smart Directory AI trial. Here, let me just put this across the bottom of the screen. If you go to smartdirectory.ai/trial, you can go check out our Smart Directory. It's a free trial. You can get set up. Like the videos for the express setup, there's only like 4 videos. You could do it in an afternoon. You heard Russ, he did it while he was watching football. I love that. Go check it out. So trading would be great. Yeah. And yes, Shushan in Jamaica is okay, Patty. Thank you for asking. We've been keeping close tabs on her, and yes, she's been doing good. Awesome. All right, look, before we head out of here, I'm going to share my screen one more time. We're going to give away 2 $25 Cash App giveaways. So if you can just, wherever you're watching the stream, put hashtag crush it with AI, and then I'm going to draw 2 random winners and send them $25 in cold hard cash, which I can do, Russ, because I'm only going to send 1 kid to college. So I got a little bit of extra cash today. But hey, if you guys see my daughters, don't tell them which one. It's going to be a surprise. So. All right, look at all those coming in. I love them.
They all want their $25.
Yeah, they all do. Russ, do you have kids?
I do, yeah. I have a daughter that just started high school. She's 14, a 22-year-old daughter, and a 27-year-old son.
Oh wow! So you're ahead of me. So I have a 18-year-old and a soon-to-be 17-year-old at the end of this month.
The reason why I ended up at the Little Chapel of the Flowers is because of the 27-year-old son.
Oh, there you go. We weren't pregnant yet when we got married there. We just thought it'd be fun to drive to Vegas from Oklahoma and get married. So that's what we did. And then age came along in 2007. Awesome. I saw those people in. All right. I'm going to draw our first Cash App winner. The first winner of $25 in cold, hard cash. Bob, congratulations. Bob's been on our community for a while. Awesome stuff, Bob. All right, let's draw up winner number 2. Winner number 2, $25 in Cash App money coming your way. Let's see, this is, hey, Patty. Winner, chicken dinner. There you go. So if you guys can do me a favor, the team took down that information. Just shoot a ticket at offlinesharks.com/support and let them know, hey, I was one of the winners, and the team will get you guys squared away. Again, Russ, thank you so much for joining me today. This is awesome stuff. I appreciate you hanging out. And if you guys, you'll see Russ in the school group. He's also in the Facebook group. You know, we don't want to monopolize his time because he's busy running his business and doing all kinds of stuff. But maybe if you have a question, you post it there, you might see some responses. Look up some of the things he's already posted there because he's covered some of that stuff already in the group.
No, I'm happy to help anybody. Everybody knows if you message me, I'm more than happy to jump in and help you out. I do have a training in there. If you guys want to build your own bot for your site before the one Tom is working on is available, I actually made a little training in the group, in the school group, on how to do it. If you guys want.
Oh yeah, I think I saw that.
Yeah.
Like awesome. It's already in there. Yep. There you go. Sign up for a free Smart Directory AI trial. That'll get you access to the school group. Find Russ's post, watch the training. You're off to the races.
Yep. Awesome. Not my dog, so.
Yeah, that's my dog. He's going crazy out there. All right, everybody, look, thanks for joining us. Thanks again, Russ. Stay safe, practice aloha. See you next Friday. Same Shark time, same Shark channel. Bye, everybody.
You've been watching the Aloha Marketing Jam session. We've helped thousands just like you start and scale their businesses. If you'd like our help to grow your business, go to the link on your screen now and let us know how we can help you. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this stream. We'll be back here next Friday for another live show. Until then, aloha.